So I want to talk about another dude who's awesome, and that is Alex Karp. Well, the other guy was when it was Scott Galloway, not Alexander Galloway. This is Alex Karp. He's a fucking badass. He's the guy that runs Palantir, and he thinks you need to toughen up. He said in a recent interview, the Democrats neglect males. There's nothing wrong with being a high testosterone male. Because when I look at that guy, I see a high testosterone male. So this is Alex Karp. He loves ice. Alex Karp is from Wired. Wired does good stuff. I think Wired, as by Stephen Levy, has become one of the best places to read stuff. If you ever feel like, holy crap, where do I read stuff that is good, that is journalistic, that gets at things happening in the world, definitely start reading Wired. I think one thing, a lot of socialist types will talk about reading the Financial Times or the Economist, not because they're left-wing, but because right-wing publications that are centered on actual economic data are going to be more honest about what's happening. I think as tech continues to ascend as one of the dominant determining forces in our life, Wired does a good job of talking things that way. So Alex Karp doesn't have much in common with this guy. He works for Wired, which does tough reporting on Trump world. Karp, CEO of Palantir, $450 billion firm that does contracts with the CIA and ICE and worked for the Israeli military. This guy lives in the East Village. Karp has a 500-acre compound in rural New Hampshire. This person was a plain old English major. Karp has a law degree, a PhD in philosophy, studying under the legendary Jürgen Habermas. Fact check. He studied with Habermas, but eventually Habermas didn't want to fuck with him anymore. I did a video on this. You could watch it if you want. I consider myself a progressive. He says that reads as pagan religion, but we can bond over one shared status. Both of us are alumni of Central High School, Philadelphia Magnet School. Wow. Maybe it was that connection that led Karp to a sit-down. The son of a Jewish pediatrician and a black artist, Karp struggled with dyslexia and essentially seems to have turned a corner. So they did an interview at an annual gathering of Palantir's corporate customers. I'm excited to see what they get into. They get into here that Karp laid out his philosophy in the book, The Technological Republic. I'm sorry to self-promote again, but I have a video where I read The Technological Republic and wrote in a Waymo and went to an ICE center and talked about all this sort of stuff. You can check that video out if you want. The title of that video is called Silicon Valley is bad or something like that. I'm always changing the titles of videos because I never know how to make them good. And it says, surprisingly readable polemic skewers Silicon Valley for its insufficient patriotism, blah, 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 blah. Some see him as a supervillain, yada, yada, yada. Let's just read the interview. Okay. So I don't really care. Oh, wow. He had an IQ test. Okay. Some people can't explain what Palantir does. Can he explain it? So here's what Palantir does. Also, shout out if you know what Palantir is named after. If you're an intelligence agency, you're using us to find terrorists, cool, and organized criminals while maintaining the security and data protection of your country. Then you have the special forces. How do you know where your troops are? How do you get in and out of the battlefield as safely as possible, avoiding mines, avoiding enemies? Then there's Palantir on the commercial side. The shorthand is, if you're doing anything that involves operational intelligence, whether it's analytics or AI, you're going to have to find something like our products. My whole channel is produced by Palantir AI systems. Cool. Sounds awesome. The author says basically it's about orchestrating information with AI, which is something lots of companies Silicon Valley do. But you contend that no other tech company does it like yours. And he says he knows how to do it. This is sick. Is there anyone you consider a competitor? A real boss would say like myself. Our competition is political. The woke left and the woke right wake up every day figuring out how they can hurt Palantir. Yeah, on my woke left group chat, we're all just like, how do we hurt Alex? I think that, not to get too psychoanalytic or whatever here, reveals a lot about this guy, that he's convinced that any criticism of his techno-fascist project can only come from the resentment of the wokies who don't like him. That's the only way that he could understand it. That's the only way that any of these people, because of their egomaniacal techno-fascist views, are able to comprehend that someone doesn't agree with them or doesn't think that they're the smartest boy with the highest IQ in the class. Well, they resent me. They want to attack me. They want to get me. No, I don't want you to use AI to kill kids in Gaza. You know, I don't want you to use data to have brown people Gestapo'd up by ICE agents. That's why I don't like you, Alex. If you're watching this, Alex, I'll be so sick if you watch this. If they get into power, they'll hurt Palantir. Um, I view Democrats as my party, but if the Mamdani wing of the party, and there's only two things you could mean there when you say the Mamdani wing. You're either just doing Islamophobia, maybe, or you're being like people that think they deserve things. Oh. Relating to the last topic, the Scott Galloway book about men, I think that the Mamdani response to that is good. I'm saying too much. If that's my party, I'm not in it. On the right woke wing, I don't know what that means, which is like everything is conspiracy. Any use of technology is going to be used to eviscerate and attack us. Palantir is literally the hardest software to abuse in the world. See, the issue is we don't care that your software is secure. We care that you use it to do bad stuff. The author then asked him about how Mamdani got in here. If you explain to the world that labor is going to be valueless, people are going to elect the most ridiculous people ever. They're afraid of an AI-driven AGI environment where no one has a job. Universities and elite institutions have played a corrosive role here. People are teaching pagan religion views, a new religion with sacrifices. Who's the sacrifice? Me. I'm the sacrifice. These people are crazy. The author of this piece literally just said, why did you bring up Mamdani in the context of this piece? And then he talks about pagan religious views with sacrifices. This is some Peter Thiel shit. They're homies, by the way. Who's the sacrifice? Me. I'm the sacrifice. So earlier, anyone who criticizes my company, which does tons of evil shit, they're just woke left who want to harm me. Anyone who agrees with like very soft democratic socialist political views, they're actually doing pagan religion and they're trying to do human sacrifice. And I'm actually the one they're trying to human sacrifice. Like, so I saw someone in the chat say, eat the rich. It's like, yeah, maybe he didn't get the memo on what that means. That's such a crazy explanation. Oh, look at this sick dude. It's so lame too. I mean, the whole thing is like, oh, I'm a sick dude. I got orange watch. My t-shirt's tight. I don't comb my hair. I have Oakleys that probably have computer in them. Like, this is someone who will make the argument that like, I'm peak performance. I'm peak performance masculine. Look at me go. I do dick. And this is a great tactic by the interviewer. You don't seem constrained. You're doing great. I'm not complaining. We're not victims. I'm not complaining. I just think there's an entire political project that aims at a pagan ritual sacrifice of me in particular. Cool. He brings up that the book Technological Republic, again, I have a video where I talk about it, says that tech companies aren't patriotic enough. And he says in the beginning, they were at odds with Silicon Valley because they were pro-America, pro-West, pro-making the government functional. But now they walked towards the government when everyone walked away. They're good because they work with the government. They bring up the war of Ukraine. He can talk about it on the record. Off the record, the author, this is a Q&A, so that wouldn't be helpful. Cool. He talks about war a bit. He says, Palantir has a unique culture. Some even call it a cult. What? The guy that's accusing people that don't like him of being pagan religions runs his own company like a cult? Shocking. I wonder how much you cultivate the outsider mentality. We're both from Philadelphia. Jason Kelsey, after the first Super Bowl win, was saying, no one likes us. We don't care. Shout out to Philly. People don't understand that there's a massive feature side to being an outsider. You don't get to call yourself an outsider when you're a well-educated billionaire that owns your own compound. You're just not an outsider, dude. What are we doing, bro? It's not pleasant to be unpopular. I don't like it, actually. Again, it's like this nerd resentment. Like, dude, I wasn't the prom king either. It's okay. It's okay. Like, what 50 something year old man worth billions that has a PhD from a German university is like still mad that they're unpopular? You should have gotten good at sports then, dude. Write songs that people like. Or you know what would make you popular? Don't be a goddamn techno-fascist psychopath, and then maybe people will like you. People don't like me, and it makes me mad. So I'm going to get all my computer weapons so I can kill all the babies, and I can round up all the brown women, and then everyone will like me. Because that's how it works on Crazy Island. He says, if someone says something ridiculously stupid about Palantir, 5 people look at it, and the 5th person says, hey, it can't be as simple as that. This is a really interesting company. And they're thinking of the 10th derivative of a problem, not the simplistic bullshit from someone online who has no idea on how our products work. Oh, okay. He says, you're not a CIA front, you work for ICE and the CIA. That's not good. And he says it's only controversial that it's under Trump. And the author says it's controversial because Trump is doing things that we haven't seen done before. True. Particularly with ICE, you have a corporate code that supports democracy and stands against discrimination. Do you track whether your products are being used in ways that violate that code? Is there a line beyond which you would say no to the president? He says, I was the first CEO to say we would not build a Muslim database. Cool. I've defended Israel. So I think I'm the last person in the world people would expect to say that. I can't go into details. I'm not a cult. The other guys are religious. I'm not paranoid, but I can't go into details about any of this. But I pulled things from places in the United States where I thought there was something going on like that. Maybe you and I disagree about ICE. Oh, this is good. Because I spent most of my adult life in Europe, in Germany. I am an immigration skeptic. Europeans shouted out in the chat or in the comments. It seems what he's implying here is I went to grad school in Germany and I learned in Germany that immigrants are bad. Actually, we disagree about ICE because I'm from the country. I lived in the country that did a legit Holocaust. I'm not skeptical at ICE because I'm from the country that had the Gestapo. That's nuts. That is nuts to blame your like nationalist xenophobia and the way you use it, national xenophobia, to fuel your tech dystopian thing on that you went to grad school in Europe. That'd be like if I was like outside a bar at 2 p.m. pissing against the wall and the cops tried to give me a ticket and I would be like, no. I used to live in England. So this is good. This is what we do there. Shout out to England. I'm not trying to say your whole culture is about pissing on brick walls, but it kind of is. I personally think that citizens have to decide by their vote what immigration policy is going to be. Blah, blah, blah. Open borders are bad. Again, the interviewer tries to act. Are you monitoring what's happening with the U.S. government and democracy? Have I ever worked against our commercial interests because it violated our norms? Yes. Have I done this in government? Yes. We get no credit for this. Why is everything about credit? Like, shout out Don Draper. I know we talked about him again. Like, the money is the point. You don't need to get social or cultural credit or moral credit. You run an evil company and you make billions of dollars. Is that not enough? Like, that's the thing with these people. Why do they have to be liked too? You know, there's a really good book that was recommended to me, not to me directly, on a podcast by Tilda Swinton called The Courage to be Disliked. If anyone knows where Karp is, get in that book, The Courage to be Disliked. Eddie is right. Pissing the night away. Shout out to Chumbawamba, anarchist heroes. Are they socialist anarchists or something like that? Okay, he says a bunch of goofy shit. He says, there's a Jewish background and form the support Palantir is giving to Israel. I don't give to Israel. I allow them to purchase our product. Aw, that's so nice. Let's see. A lot of Jews, me included, feel affinity to Israel, but we don't like what's happening in Gaza. If you have 5 Jews, you have 50 opinions. The issue for Palantir is, do you support Israel? Not do you support every micro decision? I love when it's like every micro decision, like massacring kids. Every small little random decision, like gassing people and then shooting and snipe randomly shoot kids in the head. Is that? I don't know, man. Oh, thank you, Great Lakes. Yeah, deep insecurity, the ornament was there. Just be openly insecure. It's totally fine. You know, we're all self-conscious. I'm just the first to admit it. Talk about someone that has a good relationship with Israel. He says, we're not talking about a little thing here. Israel is a country with a GDP smaller than Switzerland, and it's under massive attack. I wonder what Gaza's GDP is relative to Switzerland. Some critiques are legitimate. Okay. Ooh, I'm in the shadow now. I'm cool. When you get a letter from 13 former employees saying that Palantir's leadership has failed to stand up to authoritarianism, do you take that seriously? You have to steel man everything that's lobbed at you. Who talks like this? When the New York Times says we're eviscerating human rights, blah, 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 blah. That's complete malarkey. Hey, my culture's not your costume. Everyone knows it's malarkey. So when the question is 13 former employees said that you did bad stuff, blah, blah, blah. Malarkey, malarkey, malarkey. Do you have a relationship with Trump? Depends on how you define relationship. That very much reads like I did not have sexual relations with that woman. He's the president of the United States, and I very much respect that. I agree with him on some things, and probably some things I don't. You have a PhD in like social theory, and this is how you talk. Do you like him? I think he's done a better job than you think he's done. Let's not use me. This is insane. And the positioning of your question, you're not neutral. Talking to you is just like talking to my family. Okay. He says he'd like to meet his parents. So let's go back in time a bit. And he gets into his PhD, and then he says, why did Peter Thiel like me? I think if Peter Thiel likes you, you should run. If any of you are ever hanging out and Peter Thiel's like, hey, I like the cut of your jib, run. He finds people to understand the sixth, seventh, eighth derivative of a problem in a business context. I do think there's a Germanic overlap. Yikes. Yikes. I mean, shout out to Germany, wonderful country, great people, but the way they're using this feels kind of bad. There's a lot of Germanic culture in Palantir. Ooh. The whole the 5 whys is very Germanic. He gets into this in his book. I talk about it. It's kind of silly. It seems that German, like that the interviewer is like, yeah, it seems like you have a little German fetish, Big Chief. You know, he says in Germany, let's just say you meet a girl. You don't have to run around saying you love them after like what the fuck is with this guy? This is crazy. This is crazy. The question was like, it seems like you like Germany. Let's just say in Germany you meet a girl. You don't got to run around saying you love them after like the first date. You may go out with someone for years, and you could just be honest, like you really care about them. You know, what are you doing? What is the point of anything? I like Germany because you don't have to tell women you love them. What's great about Germany? Oh, there's white women that you don't have to tell you love because I'm a white nationalist that hates feelings of love. He seems to live the life the way he wants. Blah blah blah. You're a fanatical cross country skier. What do you think about when you do that for hours at a time? How happy I am. If there's one thing I found when reading this is that he seems happy. He doesn't seem resentful. He doesn't seem bitter. He doesn't seem like he has a fundamentally paranoid attitude towards all of reality. He seems happy. He seems like a happy big boy, happy big guy, cool guy, glasses, cool guy, stand strong, chest belt buckle, lip tucked, smart guy, good guy, brilliant guy, glasses up. This is from Alex Karp Goes to War. Isn't Wired. Shout out to Stephen Levy for doing that interview, which was insane. And I can't believe he did it. And that seems like it was probably a very bad time for him. Hey, thanks for watching this. In case you didn't know, I have a main channel where I post video essays and stuff like that. It's just called Michael Burns. There's a link. Would love for you to check that out. If you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon. You can also hit up either of my beverage partners. There's Yes Please Coffee, who make the best gosh darn coffee in the world. You get 15% off with the code Burns Beans. And of course, my beloved new non-alcoholic beer sponsor, Years Beers. It's really good. There's a link below, and if you use it, you get 10% off your first order. So thank you so much. And if you ever want to watch these streams live, I'm live every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific. Okay, now the videos, now it's really over. So now you can go. I'm going to just I'm gonna finish this. Now it's over. I'll see you guys for the next one.